Okay, welcome to this Friday morning Pilates. For those of you who were in the Wednesday class and requested the video that didn't work, I'm going to video record this class as well and send it to you. So we will be doing foam roller work at the end. So if you're interested in that and have a foam roller, you can join us. If not, you can do the first portion of the class. Okay, and those of you who are here today, let's rub our hands together. Rub them and create some friction and feel for heat. Feel how you can kind of warm up the tissue. So we're wanting to create some of that warming in the rest of our body. So let's sway one direction and the other. Let the arm of the direction you're swaying towards lift and the other arm lift out front. And as you lift in that direction with the upper body, try lifting the other leg, or at least come to the toe and extend out through that lifting leg. If you want to get some footwork and extension, point the toe as you lift off and then release the sole of the foot back onto the floor and feel for that stretching of the foot as it lifts off and that landing and opening of the foot as it comes back down. And we just gently sway. Now, think for a moment of your upper body and imagine that there's a wind that lifts your arms from beneath. And let it be that wind that lifts your arms instead of your upper trap. So you're not pulling the arms up with your head. You're lifting the arms up from beneath the armpit. That way we can have a more relaxed shoulder. And we may not end up impinging that, pulling that humerus bone tightly into the shoulder girdle through our work. And then you can stay with this or let your arms begin to swing across the body. Still, try to let the arms lift from beneath. Try not to over engage at the neck and upper shoulder. And now as you come to the left, bring the arms over to the right. As you come to the right, bring the arms over to the left. And we swing and switch and swing and switch. And we come into this kind of circular movement of the arms. And you can imagine what's happening in the tissue of the hands and the arms as they swing. The fluids are getting to move around. Oops, I forgot to mute you. Keep going. Okay. And then come back to center. Now, turn in a lunge forward and bring your hands up to your chest, palms forward, and press from the chest, from the pelvis. Lean slightly forward, let the arms extend. But here's what we're not doing. We're not pushing so far forward that we're bringing the shoulders forward and straining the low back. Okay, so you're pushing forward, but limit that range. And then draw back and push forward with the whole body and arms and draw back. Feel the stability of the legs as you push forward. Use the pelvis, use that front quad to stabilize you. And feel that back outer heel grounding to create the stability across your legs for this upper body motion. But don't take the upper body so far that it strains your back. And really try not to take the head far, which will strain the back spine as well. Now come back and pause and take the hands forward and the heart back. And then draw the hands and heart towards each other and press them away and draw them towards. And again, feel from your pelvis into your feet and feel how you can open from big toe ball mound across the pinky toe ball mound and create an arch of stability across the front foot. Ground that back foot outer heel. Feel into the circumference of the front heel. And wow, you have a lot of good stability under you. Beautiful. Now hands back to the heart. We'll switch sides. Bring your hands to your shoulders, palms forward, and press forward and draw back. And ground it from the pelvis into the strong legs, into the feet. Ground the back foot, outer heel. And feel how the upper body is supported by the grounding of the back foot, outer heel. And don't go so far forward that you strain that connection. Yeah, these look really good. You guys aren't bending too far forward. It's beautiful. Learn where you're really stable underneath, where the lean begins to lose that stability. We don't want to go there. Now press the hands forward and then draw hands and heart towards each other. Heart and hands away from each other. Heart and hands towards each other. And feel with this kind of gentle play of the spine over the stable pelvis and legs. Feel the transverse arch across from big toe ball mound to pinky toe ball mound. Feel the arches of your feet from big toe ball mound to inner and outer heels. Good. And then release that and let's pick up our hand weights and come into our marching. Come into your march, march, march. Now, just like we were being careful with how far forward we push the spine, we're careful with how far back we draw the elbows, because we don't want to force the head of the humerus too far forward in the rotator cuff. We keep the heart lifted, and even as the feet work, we can lengthen the lumbar spine, lifting the lowest rib ring away from the pelvis. This is a place where many of us compress. So we want to learn to kind of keep that strength in space up the column of the spine, because spinal compression can lead to nerve bundle compression, which can lead to pain. So think of lengthening the spine even as your legs work. Now, it's not a stiff, forced growing upward. It's like you're one of these flowers pushing out of the earth in spring, and you're growing upward. Now see, can you feel for your toes pointing as you lift the feet off the floor, and then the ball of the foot landing and rolling back towards the heel? Feel the beauty of the mechanics of your own body. Nice. Okay, and then pause that and let your arms open out to the side and draw your small circles. Again, you're lifting the arms from beneath, like there's a wind floating your arms up. And as your arms circle, lift to one toe. Now hug in the banks of your river. The outer hips hug in towards midline. The side bodies hug in and lift you at the armpit. Take your circles the other way. See if you can lift the knee. And release. And float to the other toe. Hug in both buttocks. Lift the pelvic floor and circle. Can you stay long and lifted in the heart, rooting your tail? Take your circles the other way and see if you can lift the knee. Heart still lifting. Grounding through the foot that you woke up earlier. And release. And float your arms up and float them down. Float them up in front of your body, palm facing palm. Palms facing earth as they come wide. Back down by your hips. We lift. Open, lower. We inhale. Open and exhale. Now as you inhale, lift one toe, open and release. Lift to the other toe, open and release. Perhaps lift the knee, open and release. Lift the knee, open and release. Lift the knee, open and release. Or lift to the toe, open and release. Now lift as you open the knee. Come back in, open the knee, come back in, open the knee, in and release. Now lift the knee, and we'll release the toe, lift and release, lift and release. Now lift, take it out to the side, hands and knee in, open and in and open and in and open and in and release, and roll your shoulders and float. Left foot out to the side. Now, as you lift the arm, lean slightly back in towards the right side and release to center. And step to the right and release. It's left and release, right and release, reach and release. Now, can the arms float up from the bottom? Can you keep the low rib ring lifting slightly away from the pelvis as we warm up the upper body? Good. And come back to your center. Lean back into the back body and begin small circles in front of your body, circling the arms up, up, up. Now root the tailbone. Don't hyperextend the knees or throw the pelvis as you bring the arms all the way up and circle down, down. Stay strong in your rooting tailbone, strong in your heels. Let the base of the skull rest back and circle up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Open your arms up, bring them up into your goalposts. Exhale, pinky fingers towards one another, gently cat curl the spine. Inhale, root the tail, lift the heart, and exhale. Now remember, we don't throw the elbows too far back. As we open the elbows, we also draw the head of the arm bone back. Okay? So we're really feeling length across the chest. Open the chest, but we're not forcing the head of the arm bones forward into the rotator cuff. Lift the heart and pause open. Root the heels, your big toe ball mound, your pinky toe ball mound. Lift your toes. Feel for the 3 arches. Ground into the 4 corners. Relax the toes and lift the low rib ring as you hug in the banks of your river. Hug the glutes into the bone. Lengthen up the side waist to the armpits. Gently hug the shoulders in. And exhale. The hands together and release. And roll your shoulders. And float the arms up into your cactus pose again. And press skyward. And release the elbows wide. And press skyward. And release wide. And press skyward. Hug in the banks of your river and lift to one toe. And release. Lift to the other toe. And release. Lift the knee. And release. Lift. And release. Lift and release. As you lift the knee, can you lift the lowest rib ring? Can you keep the pelvis level even as you lift the knee? Now, this time we're going to lift, open, press and close, open, press and close, open, press and close, and step down, elbows open. Lift the toe, hug your river in, your banks of your river, lift your knee and lower. Press and lift and open wide and press and open and press and open and press and open and press and release and roll your shoulders. Now pause in your Tadasana. Heels rooting, heart lifted, lift the lowest rib ring. Bend your knees like you're sliding down a wall with your back. Keep the shoulders back, the hyoid bone back. Now bend your elbows and hinge forward at the hip. Stay long in the spine. Take your hands back, collarbones broad. Pause here. Feel your shoulder blades on the back ribs, but broad and long back of the neck. Bend the elbows and lower the hands and lift and straighten and bend and lower. Keep the head of the arm bone back even as you straighten the arms. Lift and straighten, bend and lower. Broad across the shoulder girdle. Feel the strength of the shoulder blades on the back body. Root into the whole circumference of your heel, into the big toe ball mound and the pinky toe ball mound. And lift and straighten and hold. Lengthen the arms, lengthen through the top of the head. Lengthen, breathe space between the vertebrae. And release the hands and unhinge. And pause with your breath. Feel into the body. And lift your left arm out to the left. And release it to your side. Lift the right arm forward and release it down. And lift both arms, right, left and forward, and release. Left and forward, lift your knee and release. Left and forward, lift and release. Same direction, lift and release. Really strong on the right leg. Feel from the inner thigh up through the pelvic floor, up the outside of the right spine, all the way through the neck. And release. Step onto the left foot. Bring the right arm out and release. The left arm forward and release. Bring both arms to lift and release. Lift to the toe and release. Perhaps lift the knee and release. Stay strong from the left foot inner arch up the inseam of the leg, through the pelvic floor, up the left side of the spine, all the way through the neck, into the head. Lifting and releasing, lifting and releasing. One more. And step down and roll your shoulders and float your arms up. Palms come together. Float the hands down. Float up. Palms together and down. As you float up, lift to one toe. Lift the knee and release. Lift to the other toe. Knee and release. It's a lift. Lift and release. It's a lift. Lift and release. The lift. Lift and release and a lift. A lift and release. Reach your hands straight up for the sky. Root your heels. Lift the low back ribs. Draw energy up the front of the spine. Lengthen your body and lift to the balls of your feet and roll back down and lift and roll and lift. Roll and open your arms and exhale, pinkies together, gentle cat curl of the spine. And inhale, stretch the chest open and exhale and inhale, exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale and press up, lengthen, lift the low rib ring, release the elbows wide. Keeping that low rib ring lifted, stretch the arms, lift to the toe. Open the elbows, release the foot. Other side and release. Perhaps the knee and release. Keep lengthening at the low back and release. Stretch up and release. Up and release. Now stretch up, open the knee and close and release. Stretch up, open the knee and close and release. And release your arms and roll your shoulders and release your hand weights and pick up your TheraBand. Right hand to the hip, right shoulder blade on the back body. Connect it down to the right glute and the right heel. Left arm forward. Integrate the arm bone into the shoulder socket. Ground into the left heel and open the left arm. Now broaden across your shoulders. Lengthen the neck out of the shoulder girdle. Hyoid bone rests back. And lift the left to the left toe, and lift the left knee and open and close and open and close and open and close and step down. Switch hands. Right hand open, arm straight, left shoulder blade on the back. Connect it to left buttock and heel, and open the right arm. Broad across the shoulder girdle, ground into both heels. Let your low rib ring rest back and your hyoid bone rest back. And lift to the toe. Hug in the banks of your river. Lift through the pelvic floor as you lift the knee and open and close and open and close, open and close and open and close and release. Roll your shoulders. Take the TheraBand up over the top of your head towards the back so you can push up from behind your ears. Really lift into the TheraBand. Breathe into your low back ribs and lift to one toe. Hug in the banks of your river, lift the pelvic floor, lift the knee, and open and pause. Root the standing foot and touch the toe down and lift the knee up. Touch and lift, touch and lift, touch and lift. Come to center, release. Lift to the other toe. Hug the banks of your river. Lift the low rib ring, lift the back of the base of the skull. Lift the knee and open. Pause and touch and lift and touch and lift, touch and lift and touch and lift and close and release. Let the TheraBand come off. Pause in your mountain pose. Come into awareness of what you feel in your body now. Notice where you feel any energy moving in your arms or legs. Notice any length or space along the spine you weren't aware of before class. And now gently hug in from the outer hips into the bone. It's not a grip, it's a hug. Now root down from that hug into your heels. Lift from the inner arches up the inseams of your leg, through the pelvic floor, up the side spines, all the way into the skull. And then soften over this length you've created. Still hugging in the banks of the river, breathe energy through the channel between the banks. Let that energy breathe right up into the heart center. From there, imagine it radiating out through the whole body. Ground evenly into both legs, the four corners of each foot. See if you can grow a little taller without gripping. Beautiful. Okay, let's release to the floor. If you have a foam roller, you can bring that beneath you like a block or a ball. If you'd prefer the block, ball, or oov, draw that underneath your sacrum. So we're coming into some barrel work here. Before you do all that, lift your legs up and put on your circle TheraBand. Okay, and you do not have to use the circle TheraBand, but today what we're working on is awareness of stability from side to side. We haven't done this work in a while, and we have some new people, so I want us to really become more aware of how we stabilize one side for the free movement of the other. Then draw your props back in and lift one leg to tabletop and the other to join it. Those of you on the foam roller, you can wrap your hands evenly around each side of the roller. Those of you on the ball or block or oov, you can place your elbows, your humerus bones, and shoulders on the floors. Now, Lengthen both legs. Maybe you still have a bend in the knee because you have tight hamstrings. That's okay. And take your legs away from each other into the TheraBand and pulse evenly out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And hold out. Feel in from your buttock up to the TheraBand, from the TheraBand to your outer ankle, to the outer edge of your foot. Feel that line, outer hip to TheraBand, outer ankle, outer edge of the foot. Now draw the legs into midline, touch the inseams of the feet and legs, hug the thighs together, lift through the pelvic floor. Bend your knees. Stay aware of the outer and inner leg. Keep the right leg still by hugging in and take the left leg out to the left and pause. Notice the work the right side body has to do and feel in to that work. And close the leg and open the leg, same side. Feel into the stability on the right side as the left leg opens and closes. Try not to let the right leg move. Feel into the stability. Notice if the left arm and shoulder want to get involved. Right hip, right leg stabilize, left shoulder stabilizes. There's one of your myofascial slings. And come back to midline. Now hug the legs together, aware of the inner thighs. Hug the outer hips together towards the midline. And take the right leg out and pause. Feel into the outer line of the left leg, holding strong, grounding the left pelvis. Feel into the left pelvis connected to the right shoulder blade. And close the right leg. And open the right leg. And close the right leg. Left leg stays still. Feel how it creates stability. This is really important work right here. Feel into the myofascial chain from the left hip to the right shoulder. And come back in. And take your legs up towards the sky. Knees can stay bent or legs can straighten. Turn into a little bit of a Pilates V with your feet, tennis ball between your toes. And then take the legs wide into the TheraBand and pulse. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lightly touch the inner heels together like you're hugging a ladybug. And open. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And lightly touch. Open. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lightly touch. Open. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lightly touch. Feel the outside, 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 and the inside. Outside, 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 and the inside. Bend your legs. Take the right leg open, left leg stay still, and close. Take the left leg open, right leg stay still, and close. Continue back and forth. Feel for your myofascial slings and how you stabilize. Isn't that cool, the crossbody action that helps you stabilize? And bring the knees together and open the heels as wide as the sit bones and toe dip one foot towards the floor. Feel how the other leg holds back and keeps you stable, and come back up with the dipping leg. Dip the other leg. Feel how the other leg holds firm and come back up, and toe dip and rise and toe dip and rise. Now bring your heels to lightly touch, hugging the ladybug, and then toe dip one foot past the other and come back up. So your knees are as wide as your shoulders. Toe dip the other side. Your shins moving at a slight angle, kind of across to the other side. Lightly touch the heels and then toe dip. Notice how the stable leg really works to stay still. It's creating that stability that can help us not throw the SI joints out of alignment like some of us have the tendency to do when we're really loose in the pelvis. And come back up and take your TheraBand up towards your ankles. Now feel into the outer edge of your leg as you pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right foot forward and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and switch. Pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take them wide. 2, 3, 4. Right leg forward. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4. Wide. 1, 2, 3. Right. 1, 2, 3. Left. 1, 2, 3. Wide. 2. Right. 2. Left. 2. Wide. Right and left. Wide. Right and left. Wide. Right and left. Wide. Left and right. Wide, left and right, wide, left and right, and take it wide, and bend your knees, and take the TheraBand off your feet, and let it go. And exhale, float one foot lightly to the floor, and then the other. You can pause in the bridge, and if the bridge is too much, you can lift back and just let yourself rest in this inversion. Really good for your lymph system. You can rest in the bridge or lengthen one leg out long over your prop. You can keep your hands on your foam roller or arms by your sides or take your arms overhead. Take a few fluid breaths, relaxing over your prop. That work we just did is good so as strengthening work, but we want to make sure we spend some time then lengthening this pathway. And we step the foot back in and lengthen the other side. Always aware of comparisons of the body side to side. You can stay with switching sides or you can lengthen both legs out. Fluid breath deep into the pelvis. Feel for the connection inner thigh to pelvis. That's your iliacus muscle. Inner thigh through the pelvis to the lumbar spine, your psoas. Soften this chain. And step your feet back in. Roll the bolster towards your feet and let your feet, or the roller, sorry. If you're not on a roller, come off your blocker ball and put blocks under your feet or your oov under your feet. And then with your new props under your feet, lift your pelvis. If you're on the foam roller or the oov, rock your toes towards the floor and then rock your heels towards the floor. Toes towards the floor, heels towards the floor. If you're on the block, just feel into having lifted the pelvis. You're strengthening the backs of the legs, the buttocks, and the low back. Now come to stillness on whatever prop you're on and lift the right hip. We'll use the right buttock to lift the right hip and then release it down. Lift the left buttock with the left hip and release and lift and release. Sway across and lift and feel into your somatic walking while you're on the props. And then come back to center and exhale. Bring your pelvis back to the floor and hug your knees into your chest and circle them wide apart and back together. Wide apart and back together. And then take your circles the other direction. Okay, so that I have the intention of going a little slower with the foam roller work today. Bring your blocks in so that you can use them for your arms, and bring the foam roller in under your backs of your thighs. Okay, now if you have wrist issues and arm issues, you could just use your hands and roll the roller out towards your knees, roll the roller back in, and kind of do some of the roller work that way. If you want to build upper body strength, bring the hips to the blocks to the outside of your hips. Press your hands down onto the blocks and roll your feet away from you and your hips back towards the blocks, and just roll. Yeah, and we'll stay here for a little bit. Fluid rolling. Now, if the wrist doesn't work for you here either, the hands on the blocks, I'm trying to think of other ways we could do the roller. You might be able to put it through your yoga chair and roll that way. So keep doing that if you're comfortable. Just thinking for those of you who that's not working for, you might be able to step one leg over your chair. You kind of have to bend into an Utkatasana position, and you could roll your leg on the chair. Can you see what I'm doing? I'll come closer to you. Trying to make it doable to get the roller for that fascia. So you could be right here, rolling the back of the leg. Okay. All right. Just in case that would work better. And then, of course, you'd switch sides. Hopefully your hamstrings are feeling a little rolled at this point. Bring the roller down beyond your knee. You never want to roll the joint, okay? And come onto your calves. You can lower your buttocks and rest for a minute. And then if you're ready, lift back up and begin to roll the calves. And you can walk the roller down, and you can walk the roller up. And remember, if it feels like, oh, there's not much weight on my calves, you can bring one ankle over the other shin to put a little bit more weight on the calf. Yeah, these look good. The beauty of this work is that you're also building upper body strength, right? Try to not throw your head forward. Try to stay long in the spine, broad across your shoulder girdle, right? And then if you're wanting to switch which foot is on top, and roll the other side. Yeah. And remember, you can also kind of roll towards the big toe side or roll towards the pinky toe side of the foot you're rolling, and you'll get different parts of your calf muscles that way, different parts of the fascia. Okay, now this roller doesn't work as well if you're just on the ground. I'm trying to think of other ways you could do it because I saw some of you rolling your wrists. You might be able to bring your blocks back below your forearms, if you can see what I'm doing, and then put one foot on the floor, lift up and roll the other calf. So now you're getting upper body work, but not so much pressure on your wrists. And then you can switch sides. So we lift with the foot and the forearms and roll the calf. And then there's less pressure on the calf, so you could roll up really closer to the top of the knee. And this, Sharon, might be where I work the upper calf, the question you asked earlier, because I'm putting weight into my forearms and into the other foot. And so it takes a little pressure off that calf. Okay. And then switch sides if you're trying that forearm. Yeah, you have to kind of pull the roller through. Nice, Susie. Good. And then if you've had enough of that, when you're ready, you can turn yourselves over and bring your shins onto the roller and bring your hands under your shoulders. Remember, you want your wrists forward of your shoulders or under your shoulders. You never want your wrists back towards your hips because it'll compromise your wrist. And remember, you can turn your hands slightly out so your index finger is pointed to 12 o'clock. That might help you keep the wrists open. You can dig your finger pads into the mat a little bit, lift the middle finger knuckles to help you lift the palm and protect your carpal tunnel. This rolling is really good core work because you're up on the upper body, you're drawing the legs in towards your chest, and in that drawing, you're using the core. Yeah, beautiful. And you can stay with this as long as you like. Now, again, you can turn your weight, like take your hip a little to the right so that you're on the outer edge of the right shin, the inner edge of the left shin, and roll a little there. And then you'll get the fascia on the outside and the inside of the shin. You could switch back through center and take the hips to the left, rolling the inside and the outside of the shin. You may feel your obliques turn on a little more in your core and come back to center. And then release off the roller. Come to sitting in front of your roller. And bring your lowest back ribs to the roller. Wrap your hands around your head, elbows coming forward. Lift the pelvis and gently roll the spine. Fluid breath. Rolling up and down the spine, up and down the rib cage. Up towards the upper back, releasing the fascia that connect ribs to spine. Now, if that's too intense for any of you with your roller, you could put a blanket over the top of your roller, or you could bring in your Gurdie ball. So those of you with more serious scoliosis, if that doesn't feel good on your back, you can try the Gurdie ball beneath your ribs and along your spine, and you can roll on it just like you'd roll on your foam roller. It's going to be less intense, but you still get the massage, and I get a lot of squeaking there. Okay, and then release your buttocks down, come up, and let's do one more where we lay the foam roller long on the mat. Bring in your pillow to the top of your foam roller and lay your spine along the foam roller, head on your pillow. And rest your shoulder girdle broad. Now, those of you who don't have foam rollers, you could make a roll with a long blanket, or you could use your oove here, resting the arms around the head of the oove, breathing into the front chest. Those of you on the roller, you can rock side to side. You could do that a little bit on the oove as well. On the roller, you'll feel the roller roll across those muscles that are right along the edge of the spine. We could call those the double yellow lines of the highway, with your spine being the black line in the middle. Lift your hands straight up towards the sky as you rock gently. As you rock towards the right, lift the right fingers a little. As you rock left fingers, and just rock across these muscles. This is really healthy for the muscles along the spine. Letting go the fascia around the roller. You can stay with this with your hands up, releasing the lymph, Or if you'd like to, open your arms into a Y overhead. You can continue the rocking. And bring the arms into a W, palms facing your ears. We're now opening the shoulder girdle as well. You can do this work on your OOV too. Open your hands into a T, palms facing skyward. And then bring your elbows into the inseam of your shirt, palms still up, fingers out like you're creating a letter L with your arms. And then bring the pinkies towards each other, palms towards each other, reach towards the sky. Continue rocking. Arms open into your Y. Keep rocking. Arms open into your W. Keep rocking. So don't drop your elbows way back towards the floor. Keep the elbows lifted towards the inseam of your shirt, but bring the elbows down farther toward your hips. Yeah, there you go. Fluid breath. Now, palms up, open your arms into a T. Feel into whatever's stretching across your shoulder girdle. Remember, wrists are a little higher than shoulders. You may be able to really stretch your wingspan. And then bring elbows in towards the inseam of your shirts, wrists still a little higher than elbows. And bring your pinkies towards each other, palms towards each other, and rest your hands on your belly. Continue rocking. Relax in the shoulders and neck as best you can. Now, it's important to have a high enough pillow. You want to make sure your chin isn't jutting skyward. And now, as you're ready, roll off your foam roller to one side. Release your spine onto the floor. And just feel your back body, which is hopefully a lot broader, a lot more open. Hug one knee into the chest and then the other. Circle the knees wide and back together again. Fluid breath. Take your knees the other way. Three-dimensional breath. And then hug your knees in towards your chest. Nod your nose towards your mouth and lengthen the spine. If it's okay for your body, lift your head in towards your legs. Tighten your feet, your legs, your hands, your face, your belly, your back, your shoulders. And relax, releasing your feet to the floor, your arms long. Come into somatic walking. Lifting one hip and then the other. Rock the pelvis. Relax the shoulder girdle. Relax the face, the jaw, and the eyes. And notice how alive you might feel underneath your skin after the myofascial work we've done today. Come to center and rock tailbone towards earth and tailbone towards sky. Feel into the movement of your spine, pelvis connected to shoulder girdle, connected to skull. And if you have a pillow in, press it out. Roll tailbone towards sky, roll up the spine, lifting into your bridge. And pulse, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hug the sit bones towards one another. Hug the banks of your river in. Relax the glutes and roll the spine down one vertebrae at a time. And roll over to your side and come up onto hands and knees. And inhale your cow. And exhale your cat. And inhale and exhale in your own waves of breath. And next time you exhale into cat, pause and take an inhale into the cat, into any tightness in the low back. And then take your buttocks back towards your heels just an inch and breathe into the low back again. And take the buttocks back towards the heels another inch. You can stop anywhere along this trajectory, but if it feels okay, continue breathing into the low back and then taking the buttocks a little farther back and breathing into the low back. Taking the buttocks a little farther back. Stretching open what can become tight in the lumbar spine. Hands at least as wide as your shoulders. Plug each finger pad in. Feel the center palm lift. Roll into your downward dog. Bend your knees. Take the inner thighs back, sit bones wide. Lift the head and neck above the shoulders. Broaden the shoulders. Take the femur bones back. Roll forward into your plank. Long spine. Float one heel off the ground and release the foot. Float the other heel and release and roll back again. Downward dog. Three-dimensional breath into the whole circumference of your lowest ribs. Traction the pelvis away from the shoulders. Long neck. And step the feet in towards the hands. Heels aligned with sit bones, second metatarsals parallel if that's okay in your body. Bend your knees, hands to the heart. Lengthen the spine. Root from the outer hips into the outer heels. Root into the big toe ball mound. Pressing down into the four corners of the feet. Release your arms. Keep the legs very stable and let the arms swing and let go. And then inhale, reach for the sky. Glutes gently hugging into the pelvic bones. Lift the pelvic floor. Hands to the heart. Hands to your sides. And inhale. Float the arms up, feeling into the whole body. Pressing evenly into both feet. Draw energy up from the earth as you inhale. Draw energy down from the sky as you exhale. Glutes gently hugging in to create the banks of your river. Inhale. Fluid energy into your body for a fabulous Friday for all of you. Thank you. Okay.